Welcome back to the Restis F1 podcast. Today is all about the Abu Dhabi GP, and today I'm joined by Ham and Shaq.
Hey guys,
Done with the final race. We have a new constructors champion, new as in new after 28, 26 years,
28,
28
But
years,
26 years.
26,
26,
Yeah,
1998.
1998.
98, yeah, 98.
That was a long time ago. Yeah, Lando Norris and Oscar Piastri weren't born in 1998. There you go.
Neither was Shaq and I.
Oh, now you know the oldest guy in the room. So thanks for that.
Shaq
Yeah,
and I are very
what was
young
that like,
guys.
ABD?
Yeah.
Shaq and I are very young.
Ham straight to you. You have the beautiful papaya orange behind you.
Yes.
How did you enjoy the race?
Oh, I loved it. As a matter of fact, was not expecting a lot of DNFs or the turn one incident apart from Norris. Then I did purely enjoy the race. Last year I was there. I was in the Yas Marina watching the race. But then this year it was even more better. I've got friends who've been there, who was there this year as well. They were like, "Oh, it was a crazy race." They could see what all the intense fights that were happening. And a few of them were lucky enough to even see the crashes during the start.
Yeah.
So purely thoroughly enjoyed it.
Yeah, it was one of those better Abu Dhabi GPs in the last few years, I think.
Ah,
Uh,
exactly. Yeah.
yeah. Shaq, I can see Charles Leclerc behind you there. How
Yeah,
good was his driving? Did
I
you
think he
enjoy
was
it?
the best. I think he
Yeah.
was the best. For sure. For sure.
Yeah, the
Yeah.
five-star overtake. You want to talk about that?
Yeah. So I remember watching it live, and Leclerc went around the outside in after that first DRS straight, and he overtook five cars who were all just fighting, and he just goes straight around all of them. I think it was pretty brave because easily someone could have just hit someone and he goes off and hits Leclerc and that's the end of his race and there's no chance Ferrari have of catching McLaren. But yeah, he made the move stick.
Yeah. And I think he was probably the most upset guy on the grid or after the race, that he couldn't, you know, get that world championship for Ferrari this year. So I think he was really upset, on the podium as well. Didn't look very happy.
Yeah,
I've got to put it in another way as well. So Ferrari lost the constructors by what, 20, 18 points? I don't recall how much it was.
14 points.
14 points. Oh shit.
Yeah,
Okay. That was too close for them. Both the cars were on the podium, but still the win by Norris took them by a surprise. And if you guys noticed, after the race, after the ceremony, Leclerc had to get back on the podium again to shoot for the Formula One movie
Yep.
that has been happening throughout the year. So imagine him after losing the race. I mean, sorry, after losing for the constructors against McLaren, depressed, sad, emotions running high, everything going through his mind. And imagine somebody coming up and asking, I know we're sad. I know you're sad and everything, but you've got to come back on the podium. You've got to shoot a movie."
Yeah, that must be.
Imagine what is going through his head.
Yeah. Yeah.
It probably they would have pre-planned all this, saying that okay, whatever happens, you've got to come on the podium. But still, imagine the situation. Like what happens at the start of the race is not what is going to be happening towards the end.
Yeah.
So at the video, I felt really bad for Charles. Like nobody would want that. You've lost a race, and you go back on the podium again. and now you're losing to a 40 or 50-year-old man who's racing for a movie. Yeah, you're losing to Brad Pitt.
Yeah, I think it looked like Brad Pitt was the winner of that race, right?
Yeah,
Yeah, I think
yeah,
he
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 was
was.
the
was on the
winner for
top
the
step.
yeah
Yeah,
top. So he won the Abu Dhabi Grand Prix there. So
yeah.
Yeah,
we all know what is going to happen during the movie now.
I think
yeah,
they gave away the climax of the movie there, I think.
Yeah, exactly. He's won.
yeah.
We can be sure that he's won the title Drivers' Championship there.
Yeah, looking forward to that next year. But focusing back to McLaren, guys, what a
Yes.
turnaround. They were nowhere start of last year, and they have become the Constructors' World Championship in a matter of, I don't know, 18, 24 months. I think what Andrea Stella and Zach Brown has done for the team, how they have built the team, and how they are competing with the top teams now, the story is just crazy.
ABD, like you said, an amazing job by McLaren. I was looking at it as well. I saw them, I think after Saudi Arabia Grand Prix last year, they were on the bottom part of the grid.
Yep,
Not part, they were the bottom.
yep,
They were on the rock bottom, and a year and a half later, they are the constructors champion.
absolutely. Yeah,
They were actually scary during the half of the season last year, but then this year they have just taken us by surprise, to be honest. It was
absolutely.
an unfortunate thing for Norris that he couldn't win the drivers' championship, but then constructors is really good for a team
Yep.
like McLaren who has not won in the last 24 years. That is something
Some achievement.
crazy
Yeah,
to witness. Yeah,
yeah.
exactly. Yeah.
Shaq,
So
Norris, taking the pole position, leading the race, finishing first. Do you think it's a sign of what's to come next year?
Um, I don't know. I don't have any idea. Um, Norris did I feel like Norris did that in Singapore actually. He didn't lose the lead. That was the one other time he didn't lose pole position in a race. Actually I was reading something today that McLaren car is like near flawless. Like it
Mm,
has such little weaknesses. It's the most dynamic car like across all of the tracks across the whole season. Like it can handle more of the tracks more than any other car on the grid compared to, like Red Bull, they were weak in like after what Miami and Mercedes, they were very inconsistent. Even Ferrari, they were bad in places like Canada. So I think McLaren, I mean, they might be looking at it and thinking, how do we get better? How do we get better than this? Apart from obviously winning the drivers' championship, but I think they have to definitely focus on making sure that car does get better because that's what I feel like Red Bull messed up this year and how they have ended up third instead of, well, at least they could have been maybe first if Perez was slightly slightly better than what he's been doing. But yeah.
yeah, that's
well,
that's a
then
great.
that's ABD, I'm sorry to cut you in there, but then when Shaq said McLaren's car has been flawless, it kind of reminded me of Red Bull last year. The car was absolutely flawless, we could say.
Yeah,
The purely what we saw in the second half of the season by McLaren, solid car, solid win. Unfortunate for Norris for not winning the drivers' championship. I think that was purely his mistake. That he has let go of few of the couple of races that he could have won, but then unfortunate. But then it has happened, and he's got to deal with it. Next year, we could see a new champion, by which would be Norris or anybody else.
yep. Can't wait for next season. I think it's going to be amazing with all the teams almost converging with their performances. So that'll be something to watch out for next year. All right, talking about um, Red Bull's car last year. They had a decent car this year too, but probably just one driver in most of the races. And also the crash between Max and Piastri in the first corner. That was, I thought, a bit stupid for Max to go into the first corner like that. What are your thoughts on that, Shaq?
Yeah, I 100% agree. I thought I actually watched it, and when I was watching it live, I immediately was like, "Oh, Max, why did you do that?"
Yeah.
Because I could kind of, it was kind of you saw Piastri kind of just taking the turn, and then Max is like suddenly just appeared in there, and you could see like so quickly that they were gonna crash, and it gave us some hope that Ferrari could maybe fight McLaren, but they needed McLaren to be so far down, and they need to win the race, and all these things need to fall in place for Ferrari. So I would say it was McLaren's to lose, but it was silly from Max because he has nothing to race for. He's so far ahead, and yeah, I think it was just pointless, really. But it's the end of the season, so
Yeah.
we start fresh again.
Yeah. And Ham, what did you think about Max's drive?
Well, it was an unfortunate incident that happened for Piastri and for Max, but then, uh, well, if you, like there is a saying, Senna, if you don't go for the gap, you're a race car driver. I think he went for the gap, but he couldn't clear it by the time he reached the corner. But then it's Max. He is always hungry for wins. So purely the mistake is Max. He has done an big mistake for the team. He could have grabbed the win over there. Just final race of the season. Drivers champion already. He could have just ended the season with another win. Then purely his mistake. But then he tried his luck. But then Piastri had to pay for the
Incident, yeah.
mistakes that he has done. Yeah, because
I don't think Max would have won that race. I think
Max.
Mercedes was even quicker than Red Bull.
Mercedes was even quicker, but then
Yeah.
it's Max. When Norris and Max come together, there is always some sort of DNFs or clashes or something.
Yeah, but then, you got Ferrari in there. Maybe they sneak by and
Yeah, sneak
they
by.
do
Yeah,
manage
that's
to
true.
win. So I don't think
Yeah,
Max would have been fighting for the win today. I think he was quite slow.
I do agree. He was slow because we could see Hamilton from the back coming and overtaking him, but then we could
Yeah.
have at least seen Norris getting rattled by Verstappen when he's right behind. That's when he tends to make all sort of mistakes when Max is right behind him. I was hoping for something like that, but then Piastri had to pay for the whole clash. He was stuck behind Aston Martin throughout the race. So unfortunate incident for Piastri there.
Yeah, and I think if the form of the teams continue as it was in Abu Dhabi to next season, we will see more of these corner one incidents, uh, even like earlier, it's like start of next season. That's just what that's my gut feeling, but let's see how that pans out. Now we touched on Mercedes. I think we should talk about Hamilton, the farewell race with Mercedes after 12 years as their driver. And what a drive. The qualifying didn't go as expected, but what a drive from him to come from 17th, I think, uh,
16th.
16th, and to P4. Oh, how did you enjoy that, Ham?
Well, I was disappointed with the qualifying because uh, him being in the Mercedes group for more than a decade, uh, s- being in for Mercedes for like what 12 years. So I expected a pole position, or I think that would be a bit too much for a pole position. I would say like, at least in the top three or top four qualifying is what I expected from Hamilton because he had a really good pace during the free practice. But then the I think it was a safety pole or something that got stuck underneath his car and disrupted his whole final sector,
Yeah.
which led to a Q1 knockout. So I was a bit disappointed seeing the qualifying, expecting, okay, that's it. He is done for. The race is done. Okay, the maximum he could do is just P10 max, P9 to be the utmost end.
Yeah.
But then, as the race started, all the clashes happened in the front. Leclerc going ahead of Hamilton. I'm like, okay, that's done. But then I see him in P12 or P13 when I'm watching the race, and from there on, he's been having his own issues with the hard tires and everything. But towards the end, I saw him just moving up slowly, and as soon as he changed tires, Hamilton said it. The car was absolutely a beast.
Yeah.
And we heard Bono saying, it's hammer time, Strat 5, it's hammer time for the last time, Lewis. And from there on, he was just absolutely a beast. I was not expecting a beautiful overtake by Hamilton over Russell as well. Your prediction, ABD, that he's going to be
Happened on the
ahead of
last lap.
happened on the last lap. I think it was Toto, or was it Russell's engineer who told
Yeah, Toto.
to state the obvious, keep it clean between Lewis.
Yep. And he said, of
So
course.
I think, yeah. So I think that was an amazing race. Last race with Mercedes, mega race. He was on the grid toward the end, and it was mega. So next year we can see him in Ferrari. So,
Let's switch.
so guys, let's switch Ferrari. So, yep, that's it for me. I loved it. Hamilton final race with Mercedes was beautiful. Now with Ferrari.
Yeah. Shaq, are you ready to see him in Reds?
Absolutely, I'm very excited. Not just for Hamilton, I think the whole grid. Uh, I'm excited to also see people like Antonelli and Sainz for Williams. Hopefully, Williams are good. You know, Alonso and Adrian Newey, Aston Martin. So I think things are going to change next year. I think I have a feeling that 2025 might even be better than 2024. That might just be a little bit of a bold one there, but um, it's just setting up to be really good, and I hope it doesn't disappoint. But yeah, I'm definitely excited to see everyone, not just Hamilton, for next year.
Yeah.
Just to put in there, when Shaq said 2025 is going to be better than 2024, I absolutely agree with him, because this time I think half of the grid is being interchanged or replaced or whatever is happening in a half. The almost 10 drivers have changed throughout the race, and another five has gone out. So I think it's going to be an interesting next year 2025 season. And speaking of Antonelli and Sainz, I've read somewhere that Mercedes might swap Antonelli with Sainz, and they're gonna put Antonelli in Williams. Just a speculation. I don't know, but then I've read it somewhere, and this may or may not happen because it's Mercedes. They want to try out with Williams. I mean Antonelli or Sainz. I think it might happen. So I'm just assuming. So we'll see. Wait and see.
Yeah, I think if it's going to happen, it's going to be performance based. Like, they'll probably see how Kimi goes in the first few races, and they might switch. But let's see how that pans out. Now, there were so many incidents that happened in this race, and Sainz and Leclerc finishing in P2 and P3. They were very close to winning it. If something happened to Lando, I know like Sainz was really sort of emotional at the end of that race as well. And it's a big farewell for him too. Um, do you think Science is going to have a better car? I mean, when I say better car, better Williams next season? Check.
Uh,
Um, well, one thing I want to say is that I don't like it's such a shame that such talented drivers like Sainz are going to teams like Williams, who, Williams is a great team, but right now they're not doing too well. And then you have Perez in all these better cars, and Stroll in an Aston, and all that stuff, and all these people who are just you know leaving everything to the fact they have a contract.
Hmm.
But like Ham said, if Antonelli does not do well, and then Sainz taking over could be a great thing actually, because Russell came from Williams to Mercedes, so they have that link there.
Yeah.
But Williams definitely needs to like seriously improve. They've got Albon and Sainz. Sainz is not a crash happy kind of driver this time. Maybe that will help them save some money as well. Um, and yeah, like uh, Williams have had like I don't even know now. I've lost count. Like probably like 6, 7 crashes this year at least,
Yeah.
and all big, big shunts. Like easily the top 5 biggest shunts of the year would probably all be Williams.
Yeah.
So they need to first save money, and also they need to seriously develop the car because they have been at the back for so long. It's sad to see, right? And so that's why you want to see like such a talented driver like Sainz doing well.
Yeah, I saw James Wolf's interview where he was saying the 2024 and 2025 season is for Williams to break everything that is possible, and they learn from everything they break. So hopefully, they have a better car, better, definitely they have a good lineup of drivers now. So hopefully they can deliver the car now. Ham, coming back to breaking things, do you think Red Bull's going to break the contract with Perez?
uh, Ever since the end of the race, I've been reading a lot of articles. They're saying that Perez might step down, Lawson might get the seat, but then it's not sure.
Mhm.
Perez might say that I might renew my contract with Red Bull. So
It was
Well,
interesting.
actually, I can state for a fact I'm pretty sure that Perez is not stepping down. He has said that he's not going to step down. He
yeah,
like 2 days ago, I think he was interviewed or something about it, and he
yeah.
said no.
Obviously, you wouldn't want to step down from an amazing team or an amazing car. So, so imagine, okay, if you're comparing between V Carb and Red Bull, anybody would want Red Bull over V Carb. So I think Perez willingly will not back out from Red Bull because he is in a really good team. He's in one among the 4 top best teams in the grid. So I think he would not choose VCARB over Red Bull. But then, if Red Bull has to take a decision, they would either go for Lawson or uh, who else? Yuki.
Yeah,
But then, so far, it's been Lawson as their priority. So it's all up in the next couple of days. We'll know whether it's Perez is going to be continuing in the Red Bull seat, or it going to be Lawson, who is a rookie coming
exactly.
into a Formula One seat, which can be his major upgrade, which he has to prove. Because we have seen Red Bull bringing in rookie drivers and sending them right back.
Yeah,
We've seen with Gasly, we've seen with Albon. So Red Bull does not hesitate to send them back.
Yeah.
So
yeah,
if
but
Lawson is going to come in, he better prove it.
I've seen some things that Lawson's already apparently confirmed to be Verstappen's teammate next year. Is that true or not? We don't know, obviously.
We don't know.
There's a lot of
I
speculation. But I
but
think
then I
Perez, if like what you were saying with VCarb and Red Bull, I don't think Perez will have a choice if he gets to go to VCarb. I think it's Red Bull or nothing right now. Why
exactly.
would Red Bull want to waste a seat on, a Perez who's been declining so much, like not been performing, just showing simply year by the year that he's getting worse and worse. If you think about it, I think Perez's best year at Red Bull was probably his first.
Yep.
Then
Shaq,
2022, he got some wins.
Shaq, I'm
2023,
just gonna
he kind of got a win, and then 24 was even worse than 2023.
yeah, but then Shaq, like you said, it's Red Bull or nothing for him. Why would Red Bull want to put him down in their sister company when they can have rookies? Well, just we were talking this on the other podcast as well. He has the Kit Kat sponsorship backing him. So
That's his only
if
support.
that's the only support, that is the only lifeline he needs.
But he's
The
actually
Kit
lost some sponsors actually
he
over
has
this year.
lost some, but then Kit Kat got his back on a huge deal. So him being a kid sponsored by Kit Kat and Kit Kat being the sponsors for F1 as well, it is gonna be hard for Red Bull to pull him out of the car.
Yep.
It's
Yeah,
like it's similar to Stroll sitting in Aston because his dad owns it. But then, yeah, you need, like Shaq said, you need people who can prove that they're worth the seat.
Yep.
Not anybody else who is there just because of money.
Yep. If Red Bull want to fight for that Constructors' Championship, they need to have a stronger driver in the other car. And I have a strong feeling there is going to be a big news coming out in the next few days about this seat. So let's keep our fingers crossed and wait for that news, I guess. Just want to touch on two drivers who were performing probably the best form of their life in the last few races. Gasly and Hulkenberg. Shaq, I know you're a huge Gasly fan, so over to you. What do you think about his racing skills in the last few races?
yeah, Gasly has been cooking in the last few races. He has been too good. In Brazil, P3. In Las Vegas, of course, qualified P3, but an unlucky DNF. In what was the last race? Qatar, he finished fifth ahead of a Ferrari, and today in Abu Dhabi, P7. Like, I think that's like a very huge amount of points for Alpine, which is literally just given them the sixth spot in the constructors. They just came out of nowhere, We were thinking, yeah, they'll be eighth, ninth in the constructors. Maybe Williams will beat them, but no, they overtook like two, three teams, and Gasly's been the head of that. I think Ocon hasn't really been good after Brazil, but Gasly has been, yeah, just in the form of his life. And I really hope Alpine can also bring some, a car that doesn't start off as poorly as they did this year.
Yeah.
Even last year where we saw not only the top four teams, but then Aston as well. Like with Alonso, they were getting podiums. So even with that, Gasly managed a podium last year. So I would love to see Gasly prove himself at Alpine, and maybe he is a kind of old now, but maybe it could lead to a better seat on the grid. That could be something for people to look at as well. So I have high hopes for Gasly. Yeah,
Yeah, and it's not just race, right? They're performing really well. Well, his car is performing really well in qualifying as well. So it's both the qualifying and the race car now. So I think a huge positive for Alpine. Hopefully, Doohan can also bring up some performance next season. I know it's going to be his real first season next year. But hopefully he can match Gasly's performance. Ham, over to you. What do you think about Hulkenberg? I know he's leaving Haas end of the season, but again, similar to Gasly, he has been like shouldering Haas in the last few races.
Yes, Hulkenberg has been too good, too good.
I did not expect him to qualify that high, but then he went down in points. But then Hulkenberg, he was an absolute beast. I think Haas are going to regret leaving him or letting him leave or whatever it is. But then Haas has done a really uh, a wrong decision in leaving Hulkenberg. And like Shaq said, they were a few points off Alpine and was purely Hulkenberg. And we could see Magnussen helping him out there and there. But then Hulkenberg has carried Haas throughout the season. I wish to see Hulkenberg fight for more wins or podiums at least next season with Sauber. I'm not sure how it is going to be because, like Shaq said, it is a green dustbin this year. Joe was who pulled points for them was an absolute beast to do that because to get a car like that in points was difficult. So let's see how Hulkenberg does it next year with Sauber. And speaking of Sauber, I'm not sure if it's right, but I heard Bottas might be the reserve driver for Mercedes next year.
Yeah, that'll be interesting.
So that'll be interesting because remember when Toto said when Bottas was leaving after the 2021 race, he asked Bottas if he had a seat secured somewhere else. If not, he is always and always welcome back in Mercedes because that's his home. So this might happen. Toto might call him, might ask him to come back, be a reserve driver. If Sainz and William does not go through, and if Antonelli does not perform, we could see Bottas in the seat again.
Yeah, let's see. He's jobless right now. He wears a "What's Next" t-shirt. uh, in, in the
He is always bold with those things.
yeah, yeah,
You've seen in the interviews, fund me. He's funding for people who's lost jobs of immediate effect and everything.
yeah, absolutely.
So yeah,
There you go, guys. That's our review of the last race of the season. Uh, from everyone in TRF1, we just want to congratulate Max Verstappen for the Drivers' Championship and also McLaren for the Constructors' Championship. And also thank you to all our viewers. I know this has been our first season. A lot of mistakes, a lot of baby steps, but we'll make sure we'll come better next season. So thanks for watching, and until the next video, goodbye.
bye guys.